love it. So it's like, I'm just as my affirmation thing, like, you know how they've got rain sticks that
Oh,
make
yeah.
rain? That's, well, guess what? The good and plenty is showering down in a good way, Although we did have some nice little sprinkles yesterday. So I was going to tell this silly little thing about abundance, and I'm going to tell it because it doesn't apply to anyone in this room. So there's a man that's been away on a long trip, and he decides he wants to get his wife a beautiful little gift when he comes back home. To say, oh, thanks, I've been gone, and you've been handling. So he goes into the department store, and he says to the gal, you know, I want to get my wife something really nice. And the gal goes, oh, you know what, how about a nice bottle of perfume? And he goes, oh, that's a great idea. So she pulls out this bottle of perfume, and he goes, that's lovely. Now, how much does that cost? And she goes, oh, this is a mere $100. And he's like, oh, well, do you have anything a little less expensive? And she goes, oh, I do. I have a smaller version. And she brings out another little bottle, and he goes, oh, that's better. Now, how much is that? And he goes, she goes, oh, that's $75. He's like, oh, how about let's try a third time? And she goes, all right, well, I've got this tiny bottle. But it's perfume from France, so it's very rare. And your wife is really going to appreciate it. You're really going to be showing her everything, what you think of her, and you're affirming your abundance. And he goes, and how much is my abundance costing me there? And she goes, oh, that's $50. And he goes, well, you know, no offense, but, you know, what I meant was I'd like to see something a little cheaper. And she goes, oh, okay. So she reaches down under the counter and she brings up a mirror. I just, you know, I don't know why it just hit me. I thought, oh, this, there you go. So today is about good and plenty, and it's a plentifulness. It's about living in abundance, and I loved everything that Sandra shared with us. And she is right, you know, Ernest has a lot of things about plenty. Take some time to look it up in your Science of Mind book. It's fantastic. But today, so abundance loosely means having more than you need, right? Because if it's abundant, it's like I've got more than enough. But abundance is also loosely defined having money. I always think of money when I think of abundance. I don't know about you. But prosperity is, you know, not only the prosperous greens, etc., but it's prosperity in everything, but it's also relating to money. So the dictionary for money is that it's a medium of exchange. Just a medium of exchange and a measure of value. And it means paying, a way of paying for things that we need. John Randolph Price says it's sufficiency of supply, a full measure of infinite good, and he says, but in the invisible, it's the creative energy of God, also called substance. Now, isn't that a different meaning than the abundance that we're taught when we're growing up? It's the creative energy of God or substance. So last night as I was preparing my talk, I read this article, and it said, this was the headline, it said, at least 23 lottery winners last year lost all of their millions. They had won $1 million or over, and they had lost it. And it said, stating the odds of winning the Mega Million, which all of them had won, they'd won the Mega Million Powerball. The odds for winning it are very slim, but the odds for life, is everything okay, Lauren? Yep, it's good. Okay, sorry. You look like, uh-oh, and I heard somebody's phone, so I thought, all right, we're shutting down. Okay. The odds of winning the Powerball are really slim, but the odds of devolving into chaos are excellent. Isn't that a little scary to think about that? The odds of winning $1 million are slim, but the odds of losing it are great. Wow. Well, what is that? Why is that? Because of their consciousness. It's because of consciousness. And what is consciousness? It is the way we think about things, the way we are about things, the energy that we put out in the world, the way that we experience things. And so are we making room for our good? Are we preparing for it, or are we not? You know, if you were having people over for dinner, you'd be out there getting the menu, you'd be figuring to set the table for how many people, you'd be planning your desserts, you'd be planning what you would do for fun, etc. We had a beautiful bridal shower here yesterday, and they put a lot of work into it. Decorated the hall. It was adorable. You wouldn't even have known it was our hall. It had little strawberry lanterns up, all kinds of really cute stuff. And I thought, you know what? They had to prepare for that. They had to get the food. They had to plan the people. They had to send out the invitations. It's the same with us. We're preparing for our good and plenty. I'm gonna shake him, that puppy. My cat loves it, by the way. He was batting it around on the floor, so he thinks it's his new cat toy. But no, don't wreck the box yet. But when we're preparing for it, what happens? It comes into being simply because we're already knowing that it's there. When our consciousness is misaligned, the thing that we want to possess or our experience, all of a sudden it possesses us. Have you ever noticed that? When you want for something, that want possesses us. And that's not the way to go. In this teaching it says, no, you know what? There's that very beautiful saying that says, God is the source of all things. And when we say that God is the source of all things, it's the same as when Jesus said, seek ye first the kingdom of heaven. What's the kingdom of heaven? It's that place inside of power, of God, that oneness that's within you and I. And it supports us with joy and harmony and love, etc. But it's staying in that mindset of saying, you know what? I know that I am supported by a power that loves me, only my best and highest good. Did you know that you were born rich? You were absolutely born rich. And what happens is as we go through life, we think that we have to earn everything. We think we have to create it to make it happen. It's that we have to create. It's not from the outside in. It's from the inside out. It starts with, what am I knowing? What am I trusting about myself? What am I feeling about the power of God? How am I experiencing and generating that power? So I'd like you to play a little game with me. I want you to imagine a beautiful glass vase. And it's round at the bottom, big and round at the bottom. And then as it comes up like this into a narrow neck, and it's about 2.5 feet high. So see the glass, beautiful glass base, and it's wide at the bottom, and then it narrows up at the top. Got that picture? Mm-hmm. Okay, now I want you to picture a big fat goose. That thing, you got that picture? He's stretched in that piece of glass. Now your charge is to get him out of there without breaking the glass. How are you going to do it? You're going to stretch him at the top. You're going to try and drill a little hole in the butt. You can't break glass. You know how you get him out? You think him out, because that's how you got him in there. Think about that for a second. That visualization is about. It's about seeing something before it's there. It's about knowing that truth. Knowing that thing is already present. When we're in the state of want, it's declaring that it's not there, right? So what we're doing is we're knowing. Say with me, I am prosperity.
I am prosperity.
I have good and plenty.
I have good and plenty.
I know truth.
I know my truth.
And all the good that I desire
And all the good
is
that
already here.
is already here.
It's in mind,
It's in mind.
and it will be body.
In body.
And how does it? That's how it works. That's the formula. We have to know it. You have to know it, and then it prepares itself. And you have to make preparations for it too, don't you? We have to make preparations for our good to show. Just like when you're clean, when say somebody's going to come and stay over. I had a friend come over, and they were staying in my guest room. And my guest room became my collection room of all kinds. I'm like, quick, get rid of this and get rid of that. I had to clear it all out so the person could fit in the room. And it's like we have to clear and make room for our good. If we're not making room for our good, there's no room for it to show up because it has nowhere to go, right? So the way of being and thinking is what will create a deeper, richer experience in our life, right? So the energy we create is the energy that, I wrote this after I wrote the talk because I had this brilliant idea. The energy which you create guides what you will create. The energy with which you create guides what you will create. So if you're coming from a state of, God, this is never going to happen to me. If Michelle looked at those plumbers and said, man, I'm sunk. You know what, Joe, to do this, I can't do it. I'm a goner. Guess what? That would have been what happened because it's a foregone conclusion. Instead, you go, you know what? I have all the resources in the world to work this out. Everything's going to happen for good. We had an example with our tree cutting. We got a notification from a neighbor that said, I'm going to get dropped on my insurance if you guys don't cut your branches. And we had to hem and haw and go back and forth with the guy and talk with him. And we negotiated a price where he paid half, but we got a bid. And it was 3 times higher than we expected. So then we got another bid from our Rita, and the guy came out, happy as a lamb, did the thing. He was, what was it? God, it wound up being like $1,200 less, or well,
Wow.
it was $1,700 versus $900. So that's $600, but it was $600 less, and he did a brilliant job. But when we got the first price, I'm like, that's not gonna work, and the first guy wouldn't negotiate a price. He said, oh no, I'm doing a lot of work. This guy came in and he goes, okay, I'll do it for 1,000. I go, will you do it for less? And he's like, sure, and he did it. Now, if I had said, oh, well, we're gone, or that's it, I have to be stuck with this thing, and settle. Sometimes we settle and say no to ourselves before we even give ourselves the visualization. This universe says, I love you. You are born of God. You are of God. You are the experience of God happening in this world. Why would you put a limitation? That means you're putting a limitation on God. So all you need to do is shift your thinking and say, anything is possible. Any possible. And the only thing that stops that possibility is my thinking. Now, where do you begin? You begin with gratitude. And you know what? I'll tell you a great secret. The formula is to be grateful before it shows up. Because our gratitude is non-contingent on the thing, right? If we say, I'm grateful, what are we doing? We're walking around blessing everything that already exists. And what happens to things when we bless it? They expand, they grow, they increase. And they can't help but do that because that's where our attention is. That's how we're raising our vibration, going, you know what? I could look at this and say, I'm doomed. Or guess what? I could say, you know what? We're so blessed by these plentiful trees. Look how happy they are. Look how much they've grown. You should see the ivy at the top of the sidewalk. Holy cats, it's this high. And I said, is there a tree under there? And the guy goes, no, that's your ivy. I said, oh, my goodness, look how plenty it is. Look how abundant it is. Look how happy it is. And I thought, well, of course, we're probably going to shut down because it's a little too much. But the thing is, it's like, look at it. When we appreciate what's happening, it expands. It always expands. See or say or act about myself is always conditioned on my consciousness. Isn't that the truth? Isn't what I say about myself always going to either advance me or back? And it starts with the moment we look at ourselves in the mirror in the morning, right? If you're not saying, like we're breathing in, I love myself, I love my body, guess what? Your body is listening. You're listening to you. You're hearing all that. And what you want to do is expand that kind of thinking. Not the, oh, woe is me. You know, Dr. Tom Costa said we all ought to put a little piece of Velcro up on our foreheads and on our wrists. Oh, it's me. You know, and that could, you know those people, no one in this room, but those people that are always awfulizing about all the things that are going wrong. And you go, snap out of it. You know those friends that when you say to them, how are you doing? They give you a whole, well, my knee hurts, and my ankle's this, and my bank account's this, and my job is, you're like, oh, God. Cancel, 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 cancel. Because guess what? Don't want that in your consciousness. Now someone may go, oh, but I'm just being honest. I'm telling the truth. Everything stinks. It's like, guess what? The first thing that stinks is your thinking. And you got to knock that off. Knock off your stinking thinking. You got to knock that off and say, okay, you know what? Those couple of things right there aren't working so swell right now, but guess what? I'm going to shift out of that. How do you shift out of it? Not by focusing on the junk that you don't have. It's focusing on what you do have. And then you put that energy there, that vibration raises. It sounds so elementary, but it's elementary. I love this, what Susie Orman, she's the financial guru, says, abundance is about being rich with or without money. Isn't that interesting? Isn't that interesting? So remember, I think I already said this, but I love this thing. I reminded myself. Abundance is belief that you have more than enough, and scarcity is the belief that there is never enough. I was reading a story, and you can go down that rabbit hole when you're online, can't you? And you see all these different stories. So it was a story about a billionaire, literally did himself in. A billionaire, and he felt like he didn't have enough. He felt like he didn't have enough. Now, if that billionaire had just shifted that thinking, said, I do have everything that I need and more than that, more that I can give away, more that I can help, things that I can do with this that'll really benefit the entire world, right? Wouldn't that have been a different outcome? So the thing is that we create an acceptance of wealth, of abundance, of good and plenty, and we welcome it into our experience. The moment that we do that, the moment that we put the welcome mat out, it shows up. It has to show up because that's the way this teaching works. That what I declare as my truth, what I know is absolutely for God power, will happen and occur because of the truth that I know. So we get into the feeling that we already have the thing that we desire. It's already there. So we spend time imagining, get into the feeling of it. Say, what would it feel like if I had all the money in the world, or all the plumbing was working perfect, or whatever it is, all the plants in the world, or all the trees were trimmed, or whatever it is. What does it feel like? What does it look like? How does my body feel? How do I go out into the world? How do I feel different? If I have the abundance of health in my experience and nothing else is shutting down in my body, how would that feel? And a friend of the other day, well, I can't even imagine that because I feel so lousy. And I said, but guess what? What would it feel like to feel great? Get into that, even 5 minutes a day, to spend time just thinking about, I am prosperous, I am healthy. We're declaring it in the now. And the moment we come from the now, which is all there is, there's just the eternal now. That's all there is. Be thankful for your good while it's in the invisible. That's all visualization is being thankful for your good while it's in the invisible. And you can create anything that you desire. So become conscious of the presence within as the fulfillment of any desire. It's not us that's doing the work. We're not our human self spinning our wheels creating stuff. We're co-creators with the Spirit. And the moment we think we have to do it for ourselves and we cut God out, what happens? It's not sustained. It's not sustained. Because the power that is within us is what's creating. So the key to abundance is meeting limited circumstances with an unlimited thought. That's by Wayne Dyer. Meet limited circumstances with an unlimited thought. It's like change the thinking. When we change the thinking, our life changes. It's so elementary. What else did I want to say? We train ourselves to think into the result rather than the condition that we're faced with. That's all we do, just think into the result. And it's a matter of training our minds because, believe me, it's so easy to go down that rabbit hole and go, ooh, yikes, this is happening. Oh, heavens, that's happening. Oh my gosh, this relationship isn't working. Oh, that person's crabby, or whatever it is. Easy to see what's in front of us. But what it is we forget that we're creating our experience at every moment, at every moment. When we say my source, we plug into that source. Picture yourself taking your electrical cord and plugging it in and saying, I'm plugged in, man. I'm using God as my power and knowing that truth. This is not something we acquire, it's something we tune into. I guess I said that twice, so I must have really meant it. That's in my document, so there you go. All right. I always fall back on this saying, and I used to have a mirror. I think I'm going to put it back there. We're not here to heal what's broken. We're here to reveal what's whole. And many times, probably many people in this room, I don't know about you, but I did, when I sought out this teaching, I was feeling broken in some areas of my life, and that's what created me to seek a new form of teaching, a new form of thinking, a way that would kind of snap me out of the old way of thinking. And so it's like we're not healing what's broken. We're revealing what's whole. Feel the difference of that? One is like you're a bad dog, and the other one is you're a child of God. You're born of this Spirit. The more we respect ourselves and value who we are, because about it, sometimes our lack of abundance is we don't value ourselves. Or we don't even value the thing that we acquire, right? Because I don't know about you, but sometimes the thing that I wanted, okay, next. Then you want the next thing, right? The next thing. And guess what? We have to value. And the value starts here. It starts about acknowledging. Okay, It's time, I think I wrote this for myself, it's time to stop playing small, stop thinking small, and stop limiting our expectations. Because sometimes we're like, oh, don't ask for too much, just only ask for a little bit. You don't need that much. It's like, wait a second, if the sky's the limit, it's the limit. Who's putting a limit on it? You are. And you may go, oh, society's putting a limit, my parents did, or my friends, or whatever. Guess what? Who's letting them into your head? You are. So it's like, just keep saying the sky is the limit. And in closing, I want to share with this. So every day, we're handed these beautiful 24 hours, and all the money in the world cannot buy you another minute of living. And so it's about appreciating and being in gratitude with what's here now, and knowing, gosh, I can create anything that I desire. And the moment you come from that space, everything will shift. So again, I want to just remind you that today is a workshop from fear to faith. And it's playful, I tell you the truth, but it is a very sacred healing. You're going to walk away. I just did the workshop about 3 weeks ago. I was a participant. And I thought, I've done this workshop before, like 3 times before, and this time, I don't know, it hit home with me, and I thought, oh, I've got to bring this to La Crescenta. This is amazing, because it's playful, but it says, what do I need to uncover about myself? Not make myself wrong, but just go, what do I need to uncover? And then from cover, it points the direction to what you need to reveal in yourself, the goodness. And so it's a real fun X thing. Know who you are, know why you came here, know that you are great, and know that you are loved beyond measure by a power that is at your disposal at every minute. Now go out in a day of good and plenty. So it is. Okay, and now we have our guest musician.